Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson. I am a channeler and a seer, and today I'm going to be channeling through my team, which consists of Pleiadian, Arcturians, Gaia, can sometimes channel through right straight through to source energy, and elementals sometimes pop in every now and then, but it's really like me and my connection to my soul, or my knowing of who I truly are, and then that connects to other fractions of souls that have gone on different journeys that are still in the ether, or in a higher vibration, or on another planet, or another dimension, or the body of Earth itself, and so forth. So that's how I do this. This one is called the money game, because they gave me this really powerful message just a couple of nights ago about the importance of bringing this up. And the reason for it is because the shift within the dynamics of humanity and how we are going to move into something completely different is going to also open this new way of exchanging. But anyway, we'll get into that. Also, a little bit of housekeeping. I do classes fortnightly. So if you want to be involved in the classes, they're $20 each class, and you can book down below on my website, Codes to a New Reality. I'm also taking one-on-one readings as well, which I channel through straight up, or I can use the cards if necessary, whatever feels good for you. And if you have any questions too, I love the questions because it just gets the engine revving. Also, I did a mistake. So I thought that I was going to be doing an interview with Katman, who is an amazing soul. He's created Third Eye Salon on yesterday, but it's not. It's on this upcoming Friday. So sorry about that, guys, for that boo-boo. That's all fixed up now. So yes, this is where we're going. Okay, let's get into this whole money game, right? Now, the reason why they're bringing it up, like I said before, is because of this new way of exchanging, but it's going to happen in increments, and it's going to happen as humanity wakes up. It's like a reflection of us understanding the full true power of ourselves, that we don't have to look outside ourselves for feeling like we are abundant, how much we earn, how much we make, how much we have, and then we end up just hoarding, or driving ourselves into the grave, working hard and not living. All of those things are going to start to be awoken when we start to realize we are worthy of life that is in collaboration with the outside world of sharing and giving and sharing, which is the natural energy, the nature's way of all. That's why, we have taller trees and shorter trees, and everything is needed in the cosmos of the forest kind of thing. But there is no comparison, no judgment, it's just is. And then it creates this beauty. Some plants grow with others grow, so we all have these kind of, even if it looks like the opposite. So for instance, you see a cow in the field, and then they have those stalky looking birds on them who are picking all of their bugs, and you'd think that would never be something that's collaborating, but it does, and it works. So money was introduced as an outside means for humanity to use, because they lost their inner core value, and that meant that others could easily control. So money, gold, all of that sort of stuff was more to do with grasping this of the outside. Now, gold has another story to it, because humanity's consciousness went through this development where there was beings that wanted us to actually mine gold for them. And so we have it infused in our DNA that there's something special about gold, because we were literally in one aspect created to mine gold for these other beings. And now we see there is a massive value in gold because of this. It's like ingrained in our DNA. Now, it's not to say that gold has a special, unique power to it and all of that sort of stuff, especially when it comes to, I think they're calling it osmos or something, some word that I haven't heard before. They're showing me, I have seen a little bit of this where it's like it turns into white powder, and it has a totally different value to it, but I don't know enough about it. So that's another story. But money actually is something that was created specifically for us to be outside of ourselves, and look outside of ourselves for value of who we were. But as it shifts into an exchange of understanding. Anything energetic, anything that we do has value. So whether it's that we are creative, that we're wise, that we do have the muscles and can do the action, it's all equal in the eyes of the energies. And then we can use that as exchange as each one of us needs it, because we're walking through life in the happiest value of who we are. So we keep on connecting with those that have the exchange value of what we need. And then there will be these exchanges that happen rather than a monetary value, which is the toppling of the looking outside oneself to have value, the control program that was pulled over us. So there's a lot that's shifting. Now, the reason why they're bringing this all up is because if we don't start imagining this, if we don't start believing that there is something that is coming, how can you even step through or open the door to that actually being grounded on this in this reality? So this is the actual point, so the reference point of, so to speak, of where we're actually opening that door to the slightest indication or imagination or whatever. Over the last, there's those that opened that door like 10 years ago, and they have built communities around exchange. But this, we're talking going more mainstream and the understanding of our value as more and more of us wake up to the fact that we've been taken kind of hostage or in a controlled manner by the fact that outside piece of paper or coin or credit card or whatever that can be controlled by a computer has more power over who you are and how you feel about you moving through your life. And so all your focus does is goes into that. I need to get that. I need to get that. But it's not actually that you need. It's actually the freedom to live the life that you want, that you're desiring. There's a difference between needing and desiring. You can have all the money in the world and still feel really lack of within yourself because you don't love who you are in the way that you got that money. And so you still feel this gaping big hole of what is missing. And you still haven't found the true value of yourself. If we step into the tarot and the queens in the tarot, that sort of thing, or the magician, they know their own abundance. They know their own worth, and they know that abundance isn't anything to do with what you have now. Abundance has everything to do with how you feel about yourself now. Because when you feel that you are worthy, you move through this world, and the world or the universe reflects back that worthiness and gives you what you need in the time, and then you can let it go as you don't need it, and you share it and you give it to someone else, and you have so much knowing within yourself that if I need that, that will always come back to me, because the true value is that the universe is reflecting my true value. So the queens will always, the true queens, we're not talking about the ones that are in power now, but the tarot queens and that, they don't need to carry anything on their back. They just have this lightness about them that flows through the world and trusts that things will come to them and then they let go of things. They don't have a fear of letting go either. And that's the energy that we are literally moving into, where there's no grasping feeling, lack of, oh my God, I need to fill my bank account with millions of dollars, all of that stuff. And I'm not saying that we don't fill our own bucket up so that our logical mind feels safe in this reality. And each and every one of us has their own bucket that they want to fill in their own way, whether that be a huge house or a knapsack on your back, whatever. And I have brought that up before. There's no judgment on how people see themselves and what they need to feel good in this world. Most of us only really need a nice home and a nice garden or a nice scenery, or to be able to travel freely. Most of us don't really yearn for a massive freaking mansion that we have to clean and keep clean all the time anyway. Most of us don't. It's only those that come from lack that tend to need that much to make themselves feel worthy. But some of us will need those mansions because they're the people that collectively bring in new people to come in and have, meetups and that sort of thing. And so you need a little bit more space on your land or whatever, or space in your house. I'm just saying there's no judgment when it comes to the land of energies and that sort of thing. Okay, I did leave the chat bar on. I accidentally left the chat bar on, so it's meant to be. So, hey, Life is a Bowl of Cherries. Good to see you, and Jules. I haven't left the chat bar on for a couple of times, and people wouldn't even expect that to be on. But because I'm trying to focus now more on the channeling side of things. But yes, it was a really big message at the moment for us to start at the least, using our imagination to delve into a world where money doesn't exist. Delve into a world where we don't need a phone, a credit card, or anything, where us trusting our outside world again, like a squirrel trusts that they're going to be born in a position that where the right nuts are, sort of, so to speak, for themselves. We're starting to move into a life where we're placing ourselves amongst those that we can trust, that have value for our life to move into what we wanted, and we have value for them. And it's a whole other game. And I'm not saying this is going to happen overnight. They're definitely telling me this is just opening the door and using our imagination to at least know where we're going. Because if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, oh, woe is me, I have to rely on money and those people, la, 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 la. If it keeps going that way, there might be a moment in your life where you so-called have a tower moment where everything in your life comes crashing down, and then you have nothing, and then you're left with this lack, this hole that you feel inside yourself because you don't have anything. And those that have done the inner work will go, it doesn't matter. I know that I'm going to move into more abundance because I've let go, and I personally let go of it myself. And that's what you'll be saying to yourself. I personally let go of it myself. So I'm ready to step into even more things that are conducive for me to create the desired utopia on earth that I wanted. They're saying if you imagine going into another planet, there's money isn't something that is on all the other planets, and the higher frequencies. It doesn't exist. That sort of controlling outside force doesn't exist, and they live their life through their own self-worth. and if someone is in lack of, then they are surrounded by those that aren't in lack of, and build their confidence back up again to become mini godlike, like who they are, and creating their own reality. And so there's this whole new game being played out where there's way more adventure. We think we've got adventure now. Like, my team and I take my hat off to what humanity has created with such an imbalanced reality. Still, even with imagination shut down at schools and intuition poo-pooed, still with the feminine being repressed in society, and the is it matriarchal and the masculine side being all that, just looking outside for gain. We have created, and look what we've created. We've created so much. It's a fascinating thought of where we can actually go when we actually ignite and trust our imagination to lead us through to another path. And that's the power of that is going to be immense in the end, when people really do start waking up to living in the moment and feeling into who they are and trusting again, because they trust themselves. It's a totally different vibration. It will literally be like stepping onto another planet, where those on that other planet, say for instance, what I have in my artwork here, the future new Earth, there is no, these kids that have been taught by the dolphin. The dolphin doesn't ask for money for his wisdom. He wants to be there. He wants to impart the wisdom. The children want to learn. If you need something of value, it's just there for you. There's a shared experience and understanding that we are all just as equal as each other and necessary. To be there, if we're there, it was necessary. So totally different vibration. My team and I are sort of opening that imaginational part of yourself, of knowing that this can exist, and it does exist on other frequencies and other planets anyway, with different beings, and that we can utilize or use this to at least go, I know where I'm going. And it's not to say it will just be this quick, all of a sudden. Don't be too hard on yourself, but at least moving towards that in letting go of things that make you feel like, if I don't have that, I'm worthless. Letting go of those things, letting go of those feelings. If I don't have that, I'm worthless. Or where's the worthless coming from? Where do you feel in yourself, in your heart, and who you are, of needing that so badly outside yourself to make yourself feel grander? Instead, move through life of allowing things to fall away from you. Even things that I've found, like I've put myself in a position where I found things that were so valuable to me. I was camping one day, and I got up really early, and I'd already had a discussion with my girlfriend on what the new Earth would look like. This is 20 years ago. I remember thinking this, and we had this discussion on what the new Earth would look like, because I'd had these dreams taking me to these places of stillness within our minds and creating. Anyway, I'm on this river at 4 a.m. in the morning, and there's dew everywhere, and it's cold, but I just turned around and went, is this going to happen? Show me a sign. I want to see a sign if this is going to happen. We're going to be able to step into these new frequencies. And I was actually in the river, physically in the river. It was only up to, just past my ankles. And I saw this massive, huge rainbow appear, and I could see the bottom of the rainbow where it landed, the so-called fairy tale of pot of gold at the bottom, at the end of the rainbow. And I straight away had in my head, there's something under this rainbow. There's something at the bottom of this rainbow. I've got to go and explore it. I did take a photograph of that. I was like, do I take a photograph of it? Do I sit down and meditate? I was all over the show, as too excited to feel into the energies. But any case, I ended up going back, and then I told my family I want to go for a walk over the other side of the river. There's something there. And so I was walking with my family and one friend, and the friend found something, and he came up to me and said, I think this is what you're looking for. And it was a rectangle stone with a rectangle on the inside. It was a very bizarre looking stone. You could see it shaded lighter on the outside and darker on the inside, but it was this rectangle, which stones don't usually come in rectangles. And I'm thinking, wow, that's really cool. Straight away, typical me. No, you found it. And he's like, no, this is what you're looking for. I'm like, okay, you're really adamant here. I'll take it. I was thinking maybe I can do an art piece with it or something. And I forgot about it for a year. And then a year later, I ended up finding it. And my daughter found it in my glove box in my car. And she said, Mom, I think you need to meditate over this. So I meditated, and then something really bizarre happened through that meditation, where it was like a funnel, that a sucking motion out of my right ear, and then it was like a whirling noise, a really loud whirling noise, and literally felt like something was getting sucked out of my ear. And then the stone went in my mind very clearly, rotating. I'm like, whoa, this is bizarre. It was a very real experience. Like I could feel the sucking motion. It wasn't hurtful or painful or anything. It was just bizarre. And then from then on, that stone would come into my dreams and start to tell me where the truth was and where the truth wasn't. So it would literally enter my dreams and crumble or have holes through it where there was no truth. It would split, and it was showing me truths of telepathic communication and crystals and all this sort of stuff. It was very bizarre stone. And I showed it to the elder that I'd met on my life journey, the Cherokee elder, and she said, interesting, doesn't look like it's made here, does it? And I'm like, whoa, this is one of those things that you just want to keep safely. So one night in 2011, just after the earthquakes, or around the time that earthquakes happened in my hometown, Kaipoi, in Christchurch, and Kaipoi was one of the worst hit. I ended up reaching for it after having a dream, because I was trying to find some wisdom. And when I reached for it, it fell, and it just broke one clean break. And I still got the stone, but I had to let go of the outside reality that I created, the stone being more powerful than me. And I had to start coming back to me, and me recognizing that this power all came from me. And this is where we're going. This power came all from me, and I created that story. And so we can create whatever adventures that we truly desire and step into them, and gain wisdom, or gain clarity on what we want to create, or gain even the physical strength of living purely in the moment while we're needing to have some more physical strength. We can even do that. There's so much more to gain through taking that power back ourselves, instead of looking for the power gained through the monetary side of things. So yeah, letting go is also important value, no matter what it is. What else have I got? Let's see. I just put my glasses on to see what's happening. Yes, life is full of cherries. The abundance flow in and out of the breath. Yes, I love that. So let's see what else comes up. There was another thing that came up, and I'm wondering whether to actually tap on this. I did write down a couple of channeling kind of messages. A reminder that the fight isn't outside of us. Once we realize this, we are literally taking our power back. When we realize the fight was never on the outside of us, a fight is just reflecting an inner fight within us, or an inner lack or inner imbalance within us. Then we're taking the power back and we can move from there. So it was another just quick reminder of that. There is another topic that they brought up, and I'm just wondering, do we go into this topic? It's full on. And that is, I might use it for another channel message, because it's a big topic. Why they closed the door to UFO phenomenon, why humanity was closed off to that. Everything, I'm not going to read that out. I might leave it for another time, but everything does come at the right time for humanity's consciousness to step into or play a new game. And whether that is outside pushing us to be more limited, or that everything has happened. Like, we might look at the history of humanity and go, they forced us into a small corner and we couldn't move. We wanted to believe, say, for instance, in UFOs. We saw one, and then we were made to feel belittled because we saw one, and we brought that story up. And we know damn well in our hearts of who we are, because we had that experience, that was the truth. That really did happen. But these things happen we're closed off, because even though we saw the UFO, and we are belittled because deep inside ourselves, we're still not ready to really fully understand or step into the true value of what that actually means. Because when we step into the true value of what that really means, that UFOs 100% exist, and we are telepathically communicating with them, and we can get a lot of wisdom from them, and we can actually meet them, and they can physically take us up in the UFO, take us to another planet, and we will be brought back because we trust them and we trust ourselves. We're not there yet. And so what happens in our reflection of our world is another controlling force will belittle you, put you down, and shut you off from going any step further. So everything has been in the right time. Even though we can point blame outside ourselves, nothing is created in our reality unless we were 100% ready for it. And sometimes we don't realize where that is actually going to take us, that it could be something way bigger than what our logical mind could handle. And so to protect us on our journey, so that we take these steps in a smaller increment way, we are belittled in that moment and shut down for speaking of it, because we weren't ready for the real true value of what that actually presented, or what that actually meant. So then we can now look back at our history and stop pointing the blame at everyone outside of us, because it all came from within us, that we weren't ready in that moment for where we were going to expand to. And then we can accept that it's all come from us again. See, when we do that, and I'll bring us back to that small message of the fight isn't outside of us. Once you realize this, you take your power back. And like, they're really channeling this through at the moment. That once you do that, then you start to realize how far you could actually go with this. This is why they're wanting us to open the door with our imagination on something completely outside the box of what life could be. It will happen because the energies are present for it to take place. But it's also happening to you personally as you start to step into trusting your imagination and where it's taking you. But if you remember, your imagination cannot imagine something outside, something that cannot be produced outside of you anyway. Everything is possible. There is unlimited possibilities, and it's the matter of what one we take. What possibility are we going to take to ground on this planet? Where are we actually driving it, moving to? What sort of reality do we want to create here? And it's really interesting. They need to bring that up at the moment, because we're stepping into this new power. We're stepping into a new way of looking at things, and we're doing it through the love of ourselves, because we desire that, or we want to explore that without fear. We just want to have a beautiful desired experience. Say, for instance, to be telekinetic or to be telepathic or whatever. And the first thing you'll do is have the experience yourself, so that you feel okay. You don't want to involve other people to begin with when you're first stepping into something like that. So when you have that experience yourself, you're not quite ready to see the world, outside world, as that. You're just having the experience yourself, which they're bringing me now back to the fact that someone could be standing there and seeing a UFO for the first time in their life, and understanding that that is a real something outside of them that just isn't in this reality, or an experience like that. But they'll have an individual experience, and then it moves through to once they accept that as more truth than what other people are telling them is the truth, then they will have another experience where there's more than one person. There's something new coming up like that, where they're telling me these, they're saying, sorry, I'm getting a little confused. They're telling me that there's these steps that can be taken. Doesn't necessarily always happen this way, but they're saying we're telling you in a step by step fashion that it can happen because of your energy alignment to what you're creating in your reality and allowing to have reflected back to you. It doesn't have to happen that way, though. It really does depend on your energy alignment to it as it goes along. Hope I'm making sense there. What else have we got? Sometimes I get really lost in the channeling, and then all of a sudden my logical brain will flick in, and I'm like, I'm trying to make sense of this so that I can explain it to you guys in a fashion that you can take on. And when I do that, it sometimes stops the channeling. So I have to be aware of that. But I do also want to make sense of it for you guys, right? What else have we got here? Yeah, they keep bringing me back to this door opening. And the true value of imagination too. And literally the frequency shift or feeling of the monetary gain falling, or an outside material thing that has more value than who you are falling away. They really want us to start focusing into what would your world that you're creating, because this is only coming from you in your world. What would your world create if you saw money was obsolete now, and see how the feeling of if you walked out the door and now all of a sudden you have to trust other people, you have to trust nature to supply you. You have to trust that if you don't know something like how to grow plants, that someone else will come into your life that does. Feel into those vulnerabilities, because that's where the blockages are, which is holding the monetary value in place in your reality to be reflected back as a controlling fraction from somebody else that will be controlling you. The way to take your power back is to start trusting yourself and nature, the natural way of things. Again, that's why there's no other animal on this planet that has a true exchange like humanity does with money. And that's because each squirrel has its own value of who they are and what they're creating. Each bear has its own value of what they're creating. If their value is less of, or they don't really want to be here, they'll put themselves in a position of vulnerability. And it's literally just that. They are not, their soul is ready to leave, or their soul is wanting to be caught by, the sheep's wanting to be caught by a lion and that sort of thing. So they put themselves in that position to leave their body, to be able to expand their reality of leaving that body or that avatar and going into having the chance to go into another. So we've got this natural awareness of, if we really truly are valuing ourselves and this story and this life and being grounded here on this planet and experiencing the beauty of it, then we will not put ourselves in a position where we don't have the food, or we don't have the housing, or we don't have. It's only because most people are not happy with the way they're being controlled, and so they live in this poverty of feeling less than. And then we have those that are gaining their power by being too wealthy, and pushing others under their power game, because they don't feel worthy themselves unless they have that in their game. And that sometimes we keep coming back to that same scenario of that, because it's it's the truth, and it's the way that we can explain it to you. Yeah. Where are we at to 36? See if there's anything else that's coming through as well. Yes. Okay. We are going to do another talk on the UFO phenomenon, and that will be a really interesting one too. And where that's actually taking us as well, and why what happened. Yeah, but at the moment, at this channeling, they really just want us to open a crack in our imagination, open the door to something beyond, open the door to something beyond. Yeah. Something beyond. And stepping outside of seeing what's outside of us as more truth than who we are. Someone who's completely enlightened and empowered of who they are can move themselves into any arena on this planet, using the ability to break down or let go of their reality and then move themselves into another space. We're now going into teleportation here in a way, in a sense or a fashion. That's another topic as well. A juicy topic I really want to get into as well. So there's the reason why they're bringing all these different things up is because that is literally where we are going. But we're just touching on everything at the moment. And we wanted it to be focused more on the money side of it in this channeling, because that's pretty much in the next decade or so what's going to start losing its value, as we are valuing ourselves more. And we start to recognize that we can grow our own food, we can share our own. And also the fact that energy is an equal value. It isn't anything to do with someone who is see, when we have outside monetary value, we put certain people at the top of that pyramid scheme of who's got more value. In other words, a singer who has a lot of audience will have more value because they can pay to get into seeing them and that sort of thing. And everyone gives them a bit. And so they end up having all this value and worth. But in true essence, someone who's physically cleaning a toilet or being a housekeeper should have just as much value as someone who's on stage giving out, even wisdom or whatever. We all are just instead of that sort of hierarchy in some respects of how we perceive the world of who's more value than others. There's going to be a fall that happens with those that have taken their value through greed and control as well, really getting that strongly now. And the fall happens because the ones that are starting to wake up are no longer giving their money or their time or their energy fueling those that have come from greed to be able to be a better person. And so they're going to have to look at themselves. Everything starts to shift when we start to see that it's not to do with money. It's to do with who we are in the energy. Energy is the new value, is the new money. Energy is the new, and alignment. And just being, when they say you're in the right place at the right time with the right people, that sort of thing is going to start to happen for those that are coming from their heart base and wanting the best scenario for everybody to create their own reality. They're going to be put in the right place at the right time with the right people for their utopia to be grounded on this planet. And they're coming from a trust of themselves, so they can trust those that are coming into their life. Because they're trusting who they are and feeling into whether that person is for real or not, or whether that person's going through a bit of a squiff time just in that moment, and then they'll let it go and they're growing, because we all do. And then those that have been grasping or trying to control those outside of them are going to see that all those are waking up and they don't have the same feeling of power within them because they only had power by having someone outside themselves being in control of them or having their attention on them. They're bringing me to a story of Avalon, what is his name, Merlin, and he was constantly fighting. I don't know her name, but she has a long dark hair. She was like his nemesis. And she was a very powerful woman with a lot of magic and constantly doing evil things. And he would fight her. He would try to help others. He was constantly living her story and her reality. And then one day he just walked in when she was standing on her grandness, on her, her stadium, and there's all these minions beside her and so forth. And he just walked in and went, "You have no power over me anymore. I'm not doing your story." And he just turned around and walked out. And she just felt this emptiness because she knew she didn't have power over him anymore. He was going to create something different and she was not going to be part of it. So she then would have to look at herself because there's no one there for her to gain her feeling of grandness. And that's what happens when we're constantly looking outside ourselves to fuel our grandness. We can be controlled by that. And when we take it back, we aren't. And so the monetary value of so-called money that can be controlled through a corporation or a that sort of thing will fall away because we're waking up to our true essence of our true power of who we really are. And that's more important. It's more important in this moment. And that's what these new energies are bringing in this moment. Araha to you, Bobbie. Araha. That's funny you said Araha. Araha was a girl in my classroom at school. That's interesting. She was beautiful too. Anyways, it probably means something in Maori. I'm just guessing. Anyway, you'll have to let me know what that actually means, Cheryl. Let's see what else. Yeah, so I don't think we actually fully have embraced or understand how important it is, or how we're actually shifting our reality by waking up, and each and every one of us is doing that. Yeah, we're waking up to the call, and unless even if you were someone that was needing to control everyone outside of you, if you still have the opportunity, just like everyone else does, to awaken to your true natural power, that you don't need outside people to control. Even they have the opportunity now to wake up. Everyone has the same opportunity. You're either waking up from being a victim, which is the majority, I'm afraid, because that's just how the hierarchy handled things, or waking up to the fact that you need to start being compassionate for yourself, and that means the outside world as well, that you're not infiltrating your power onto somebody by trying to manipulate and control their mind, because they're waking up anyway, and you're not going to have much control over them. So even the perpetrators have enough chance at this moment to wake up out of themselves, and then it's just going to be this massive shift of alignment, of trusting the natural order of what our program was initially came in here to experience, and to awaken back into the natural program or the natural order. I always say, when they took me into the place of being in utopia, or grounding heaven on earth, or the potential for humanity, I always said it was it's always come from clarity. There's always a stillness within one's mind when we step into that. We are our ability. It's just that the first thing that I noticed when I was there was an absolute stillness in my mind. There was no monkey chatter. There was no doubt. There was no nothing. It was just clarity. And in the clarity, you could create, manifest whatever you wanted. So you had your true abundance. But I didn't recognize in that back then that it came from self-worth. And now that has been the journey that I went on after that, of learning that all that came from self-worth and trusting oneself in the moment. Yeah. I feel like this channeling has gone all over the show. I hope it has. I hope it's kind of made sense for you guys, because they just want to touch on little things, a little bit of all these different titles that I'm going to bring up, and more. I'm going to channel through more information on each of those subjects. So we have the UFO phenomenon, we have the ability to be telepathic, and what that is, and the telekinesis and how that works, and that sort of thing. Those will be channeled through eventually. But also, if you go on my classes, which are every bi-weekly, we are going to be doing exercises towards those anyway, because we're now learning to create something completely different. It's a really huge shift, like a massive shift for humanity to go on. This isn't something light. This is like one world to another, literally Alice in Wonderland moving into the Wonderland, and having an understanding of, where she they go to share the cake and they cut it into pieces, and say they cut it into 8 pieces, and there's only 4 people that turn up or 5 people that turn up, then they said, why would you cut it first? That's wasting 3 pieces. They trust the cake will cut itself into the amount of pieces that of people that are going to take it, so that it's all divided equally. And that is one of the biggest things they're bringing up a lot for me at the moment, because we're learning to trust that we're always going to be around those that are going to help guide us into the next step, or we're always going to trip up over the person that's got the next wisdom, or has another value that we can expand our reality to, and reminding ourselves that that person is no more important than who you are. And if you step them up on a pedestal and that they are more important than who you are, then you're already in lack of. So for you to be in presence with them means you are equally in the same vibration as them. So to see yourself, never to see yourself as less than what you project outside yourself of what that true value person is to you. Take it back. You are that true value yourself as well, to be in that position, to be with them and to learn what you need to learn from them. Yeah, so that's really cool too. Nice little ditty there. Only time I think of money is when I need to pay my electric, gas and water bill, if it's free then. Yeah, exactly, Em. I stopped worrying about how I just went, as long as I have a bottom of my bucket full from my logical brain, I have a certain amount of money in my account, then I don't look at my accounts and I just allow it to flow evenly. And it's worked really well like that. I haven't looked at, I just allowed things to, if I don't have to look at the bill and it's pulled out automatically, so long as if I get a feeling that something's gone wrong, I trust that. And then I'll go in and have a look. And usually something has gone wrong and I catch it, and then I'll speak up about myself and say my value is worth, you not taking more than what you should, and that sort of thing. And you do the actions towards it, but you're always in alignment with trusting that there's a natural flow of energy. I haven't honestly done insurance for a very long time, because insurance, just every time I did insurance, it created the problem that I ended up bringing in. So if it was car insurance, my God, I had so many things go wrong with my car all of a sudden. And then I needed to, and then you end up causing the problem. So I don't like the sort of insurance thing, because it's literally saying, well, I want value out of my money. And what's the value? Something to go wrong. I don't want things like that to go wrong. So if my partner wants to, it's his story, it's his thing, but I don't tap into that myself. And that's the other thing too. Just because people are in your life, let them go on their own journey. Don't try to control them because you've found a better way. Show them the way that you found by being the calm person that you are, and that you can ride through life and trusting it. And also remember that they are you as well. So if something goes wrong with them, then it's in your reality for a reason for you to learn a lesson as well. It all ends up coming back to you, I'm afraid. And this is where we're going to take responsibility for where we're going. And when we do that, we have the power to manifest what we truly desire. So guys, I'll leave it at that. And I will be back I'm definitely going to be here on Friday at 10 a.m. AEST time with my interview with Katman. So sorry I got that date wrong. And back on Tuesday with the tarot, back on Thursday with another channel message, and I'm probably going to do something else as well. I don't know what yet, whatever my guys tell me to do, because sometimes they'll flip in another message or another movie or something that's come up, like that fire image that came up in the fire. I really wanted to share that with you guys. And the last movie that I made was on babies, ghosts, and leaving the matrix. That was a really big channel message that I wrote down, so I put it into a movie. instead of just reading it out. So guys, love you so much, and thanks for being part of my journey, and I'm so grateful to be part of yours. Until next time, bye.